This is the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast, with Kreese, Mino, and Mark, bringing you all your Defo news and talk. Welcome to Season 3, the Chaos Era. Now let's start the show.
Well, everyone, we are on the other side of the SQEX 2nd anniversary mobile stream. How are you feeling about it? Are you excited? Are you disappointed? Are you overwhelmed? Or are you just excited on the big news that we have an unexpected shirtless Sephiroth costume? Yes, welcome to episode number 87 of the Crystal Chronicles. I am your host, Mark, and I am joined by the dynamic duo themselves. First, his name is Mino Spellgood. Mino, how are you doing tonight?
I'm here.
Super excited about shirtless Sephiroth. And also our friend Kreese. Kreese, how are you?
I am also here and a little bit more enthusiastic than Mino.
Well, I'm glad. I hope everyone joining us is as enthusiastic as we are tonight. We have so much to talk about, from the GL first to all of the quality of life updates we've gotten, to breaking news, including Crystal Awakening Wave or Part 7. All kinds of things going on. 2nd anniversary campaign is officially in full swing, including free draws, 10 in total for this month, starting now to the end of next month. So good luck, and 2 draws are available as we are speaking. So I see people, Maria EX, Night is Dark Full of Terrors, already got that. So yes, and Anthony, I appreciate your help. Do check out the TCC Apparel shop, and we have links to that. We have links to everything. So welcome if you are live with us on Twitch, if you're watching us video on demand, watching us on YouTube, listening to the podcast. Thank you for inviting us into your life and being your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast. So let's get to it. We have enough to cover. First things first, let's talk about the big news. It was confirmed that we are getting a second global first. Now, this is not a global exclusive. Last year, 1st anniversary, we got a global first, and her name was Beatrix, and we got a character event with her, as well as an EX weapon with her as well. And of course, that was not a exclusive character. Japan got her several months later, about 6 months ago in their timeline. But we know now, after weeks and perhaps even months of speculation, the global first for the 2nd anniversary in DFFOO is Aranea Highwind from Final Fantasy 15. And let me tell you, people, I could not be happier. I am giddy with excitement. I was resigned to another Type 0 character, or Red 13, or Riku, or Sid Orlando, or a whole bunch of other people I really, fine, but not really excited about. And here, SQEX Joshua brightened my Monday by telling me the only top 25 of my characters that I do not have, Final Fantasy characters, that I do not have in this game, is coming as the second global first. So I am so very, very excited. Yeah, I don't know if anybody else is, but I am. Kreese, Mino, what do you think about Aranea Highwind?
What do you think, Kreese? You first. I'll go last as usual.
My thoughts on just Aranea being the character is that it makes sense logically. She fills a not identical but similar role in Final Fantasy 15 story to what Beatrix did in Final Fantasy 9's. She starts as an antagonist. She's very powerful. eventually becomes friend and ally to the group. She's not a main character by any means, but she's a side character who has some relevance to the plot. And she's cool. Not as hype as Beatrix was for me, definitely, but still very interesting choice. And I'm going to reserve more judgment until I see some kit information.
I mean, I think Mark said this was like the second best outcome. I forgot who Mark wanted
Well,
most.
the only other in my favorite 25 Final Fantasy characters, the only other character who is not in Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia is Edea. And of course in NT, Edea is an Ultimecia costume. So I resigned myself to the fact that Edea is already in the game in the form of Ultimecia, and eventually we will get an Edea costume for Ultimecia. So truthfully, unless they give us a completely different character, the sorceress Edea, this is the best outcome for me. The fact that this is
Right,
Aranea.
and I feel very similarly. I think my first choice was another version of Kane, and we basically got Kane
This
with
is
breasts.
Kane.
This is also, this is also a second best outcome for me. Guess I can't really complain.
Have you played Final
but
Fantasy 15?
yeah, I have.
He is,
And well, 15 thoughts aside, I don't. Okay, go ahead.
She is not Kane with boobs. She has a very different personality than Kane, I have to say. Kane is a mopey, do right but broody kind of guy, right? I mean, he's emo and always down on himself and everything else. She is not. She is very take charge, suck it up, and kind of that kind of character. Kane's really. I like Kane a lot. I like him more than Aranea, but yeah, he's not, just because I played that game obviously a long time ago.
Okay, I mean, fair. I was going with archetypes.
They both have spears.
Yeah,
they're both.
I was going with the archetypes.
Yeah, they're both.
Yeah,
they're both
the OP Dragoon, who's like the party frenemy, and
exactly.
some shaky alliances with the Empire.
I was gonna say shaky loins. Yeah, they both.
They both have very and sharing the Highwind name and the Highwind attack. Okay, but that aside, I think it was legitimately a really good choice for GL first. From a very practical, objective standpoint, guys. Sorry, this is an attractive female character from a very recent FF. FF15's literally still on game store shelves. It's a good commercial push. Probably a lot more people have heard of and like this character than like a nostalgia pick of old men. People are trying to say like another FF3 character or something like or like Benjamin from Mystic Quest. Like come on, guys. Seriously, like I mean, there's picking personal favorites and nostalgic bias, and then there's picking what commercially makes sense from a business standpoint, from a mass appeal standpoint. Aranea is a perfect pick for that. Also pushes more FF15 copies off the shelf. Before people say, I remember I brought this up in Discord. I was like, it's just like Smash Brothers. People were upset about the Smash Brothers pick because it's a very new character that's meant to sell games.
Right.
And people were like, "Oh, you're being paranoid, Mino. Like, character choices aren't about selling games." There's so many people in our Discord who are talking about picking up FF15 again or buying the DLC because Aranea was announced and they're excited. Like this is every single crossover product to ever exist is a commercial for the base thing. Smash Brothers wants to sell you Nintendo games. Fire Emblem Heroes wants to sell you Fire Emblem games. Final Fantasy gacha games want to sell Final Fantasy games. So this was a very successful advertisement for a current FF that possibly lost money, is still on the shelves. They're still pushing out DLC. They're still trying to squeeze out every penny out of you. And much more mass appeal, much more recent, attractive female character. You guys can't argue that if you were out here to try to make money off of DFFOO, this was the most logical choice. It's a very good one.
Yeah, I think in terms of, I thought a crossover for the 7 remake was a good choice. Of course, that got delayed. Who knows everything else going there. But, they really had to plan ahead. That's the other thing going with collaboration, right? We know they really do have to plan ahead to make these global firsts happen. And how it worked last time was the Japanese dev team gave the global dev team like a choice of 6 characters they had already been working on and said, like, which one would you think would be a good choice? And they chose Beatrix. And so I'm sure it went similar. So, in terms of trying to match up timelines with other releases, whether it's the Crystal Chronicles re-release or the 7 remake, yeah. So
a lot of people in chat are saying, but they canceled Aranea's DLC. What are they selling? First of all, she's still prominently featured in the game and in Prompto's DLC.
Yeah, Prompto's DLC and in the actual game, right?
And I can show screenshots. There's lots of people who are already saying, maybe I should give FF15 a try. Maybe I should give it another shake. I haven't played it since the DLCs came out. Maybe I should, try the complete edition. So, it's working.
Her scenes are by far... perhaps the only other favorite thing of that game would be the regalia itself, and the scene towards the end of the game with the regalia was pretty emotional for me. But Arenea's scenes are amazing, and the mission that you get to go on with her and her little if you haven't played Prompto's DLC, her interaction with Prompto is great in the Prompto DLC. But yeah, no, I like the character a lot. My favorite character from that game, period. I walked away with that game thinking, well, here's the character that I definitely like the best of any of those whiny characters.
I like Gladio's sister. She was a lot of fun to have on the team for a
while.
while.
That's true. Yeah.
Iris. Yeah. Yeah, no,
the guest characters were more fun than the main character.
So, it's true. What do you think? So we know that Aranea Highwind is a Dragoon. In the same way that Kane is a Dragoon airship pilot. She has her own airship, but she is a Lancer, a Dragoon. Are we expecting just range DPS, or do you think we might get a little bit of a surprise in her kit?
I'm hoping for something of more of a hybrid offensive supporty type, something kind of comparable to how Beatrix was damage, but also a lot of utility for the team. I don't think they're going to go as extreme because Beatrix was meta for a very long time, but I'm going to say Aranea will probably not be a straight out pure DPS character.
Jake is reminding people that, you can download and play the Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition, the mobile version of the game, and that has gotten some decent reviews. It's a little bit more of a streamlined version of the game if you just want to kind of check out the story.
So some of Aranea's buffs have been data mined already. So she's gonna have a shield. So she has some defensive capabilities. You can already tell from FFRK and Brave Exvius. In both of those games, part of her kit is a shield that cancels out magic attacks. Yeah. So I would not be surprised if she gets something really similar here. And it's already data mined that she has shields and defensive buffs. And she also has another buff or debuff called something like attacking weak points or exploiting weak points or something. So and a speed buff as well. So I mean, we're looking at a very fast DPS character with some defensive capabilities. That much is known. So we'll see. Oh, and in case we forget to mention later, the stream said they're slowly going to be revealing her kit over time until she releases on the official Twitter, like releasing like one move at a time or something, slowly divvying up her kit. So we'll have more and more to announce as the weeks come, I think.
So Polish Prince is asking if you're pronouncing her name like that on purpose. And I recall there were several of you in one of our private moderated kind of chats who were having conversations about incorrectly pronouncing her name. So why are you saying her name all weird like that, Mino?
Oh, that's my fault. It's Aranea, right?
It is Aranea.
Well, I know there were several people who had all kinds of different.
What did I say?
I looked at the. You were saying
Aranea.
Yeah, Aranea. Yeah.
Was I really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you were. Since we started talking about her, you were saying it that way. I just let it go.
No. Oh well, fine. That's my one loss to yours. You both of you are like 50. I'll take that. I'll take that one. But yeah, no, it's Aranea for sure.
Yeah, I looked earlier today. It's uh, the bad guy whose name I just completely forgot.
Arden.
Arden, the Chancellor. When he introduces them to her before the mission, and that's the one where she says, the recruit thing, Eddie's recruits, which we're getting that sticker. He calls her Aranea, but it's kind of his accent. He kind of has that, maybe
Right.
a little European accent. When Noctis talks to her, he says Aranea, focusing kind of on the R. So
Aranea sounds more correct. That's how it's pronounced in
but
Japanese,
there is some conversation I saw online about the Latin, the Latin that it's based on, and all that kind of stuff. So but that's how Noctis says it in the English dub of the game, Aranea, as opposed to Ariana Grande. She's in another Final Fantasy game. We don't have any crossovers for that. So I am excited. Some of you might be disappointed. Some of you may not care. Some of you are on the fence. We will tell you as much as we know, as soon as we know all of the official things. Squex Joshua said they're going to be releasing a little bit information, maybe some videos, etc., over the next couple weeks. She will be arriving the evening of February 16th with a event. So you'll be able to pick up her gear and play through an event that is sure to make me happy, but hopefully it makes everybody else happy as well. We also got a Q&A with the producer, so I'll just hit a couple highlights from the Q&A. Joshua was over there visiting in Japan, and so was able to sit down and talk with him. And so, of course, questions that came from Reddit, similar questions, but these are the answers that he gave. Are we going to get artifacts changed? Is the artifact system ever going to get better? And so his answer was they know about it, they're working on it, but there wasn't anything definitively, so that doesn't give me a lot of confidence. But that being said, we did get a little bit of a artifact boost here tonight, so it's something better than nothing. Now, going into weapon skins. People have been asking for weapon skins. This is not something that excites me at all. I think it's one of those things that it sounds cool, and everybody will do it, be real excited about it for about a day and a half, and then you won't care anymore. But some people I know are very, very excited about this. Will we get weapon skins? What that means is Sephiroth's EX weapon is garbage. It looks terrible, right? So can I just put the actual weapon on Sephiroth or another weapon, right? So the answer was yes. And likely we will be getting it this summer. Now, Japan already had it. It's just launched in Japan. So we have seen what that looks like in the Japanese version of the game this week, and we're hopefully going to get it here in the summer. So that is exciting. If that's something you'd like, if you're like, oh, I'd really like Squall to have Revolver, or I'd really like Cloud to have the Buster Sword, or Zack to have the Buster Sword, whatever, then you're going to be able to do that. Or to have an axe, regular axe. That's exciting too. The other question, which I thought was very interesting, and I'll let Chris and Mino take up what they're asking about, was what's going on with Abyss. We have this unique, right now, exclusive content called Abyss. We've had the beta version of Abyss for quite some time. That is going to go away, and in March, April, we are expected to get a relaunch of Abyss permanent content. So that's pretty exciting, I think. I really liked Abyss, and I'm looking forward to seeing what that might look like. The other thing was, is there a way that we can have an in-game theater where we can listen to music or watch cutscenes? And the answer is yes, and we are actually getting that today, and we may have already gotten it. So
it came with maintenance, actually. I forgot to update
it came
the
with
notes.
Maintenance. Okay, yeah. So that is the news from the Q&A. Mino, did you have any thoughts on any of that stuff?
Yeah, why can't you guys ask better questions? What is this garbage? All right, well, I mean,
You said
okay,
that,
so
you said that last year.
did I? I thought there were some decent questions last time. Last year, people asked like,
I think you complained about it quite a bit about the
Oh.
questions last year.
oh, okay. Well, last year's questions were better than this year's questions. They were asking things like, like, are we still planning to catch up to JP?
Yes.
What's the timeline on that? That
Yep.
was good information. Is there going to be any like GL exclusive stuff, which we got? Those were good questions. Lots of good questions. This year it was, where are the weapon skins, and how can I be lazier so that instead of going to click the movie, the cutscene tiles, can I just have a menu that has all of them laid out for me? Like,
That's exaggerating it. There's some cutscenes you literally cannot rewatch in the
That
game.
is
yeah, I guess. I mean, I know there's an audience for it, just like weapon skins. I understand a lot of people are really happy for that, but
So if just to clarify, because I had no idea, if you want to find the Memoria Theater, you actually go to settings. So from the home screen, click on the little gear there, and it's just the third one down. User data, character guide, Memoria Theater, and that gives you access to all the different cutscenes: opening, story act 1, story act 2, lost chapters. So very nice. I would rather have music jukebox kind of thing than a
right.
than a cutscene. But I know some people are excited about that. Yeah.
I mean, the weapon skins, I understand. Like, some people really care about that stuff, and I understand. Cutscene stuff, I guess, it just feels low on the priority.
We know about how much you care about cutscenes.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I kind of feel the same way about the weapon skins. I think it's something that sounds like, oh, that's really, really cool, but it's not something that, it's going to keep you engaged in the game, right? I mean, it's one of those little cosmetic things that you'll do, but then, it's not going to affect or impact your day-by-day playing of the game. This isn't like, you're not dressing your characters up. You have one costume option and a couple weapon skin options. So, again, it's fun. It's nice that they're there, but yeah, I don't think it's something that's going to keep people like super engaged. Chris, any thoughts just kind of overall from the Q&A?
I wasn't really expecting anything, so what we got was fine. I'm glad we have a rough timeline on when weapon skins are coming, and yeah, that's about it.
I was glad that we actually got, these things are coming, and here's when you can expect them. I think that's awesome. No one owes you that, but, I'm glad that they, we're working on this. That doesn't mean anything to me, but when they say, expect it in the summer, expect it in the spring, well, that's something. From the stream, great stream, and thank you Squex, Joshua, and Glacy for hosting that stream. We got, and with the anniversary rewards, we will eventually be getting 8,000 gems, 1 Power Stone, 20 draw tickets, and 20 armor tokens. And those are kind of the stream anniversary rewards.
10 armor tokens, I believe.
10 armor tokens. It says 10, and I said something else. So 20 draw tickets, 10 armor tokens, 1 Power Stone, 8,000 gems. So that was kind of from the stream. Now there's a lot of other stuff on the stream. Obviously we're going to be talking about it in the quality of life and also in the second anniversary campaign, which are now happening. So we got quality of life changes tonight, right now, after maintenance, which was last night. Stamina potions, instead of your stamina refreshing when you rank up, now your stamina will not change, but you will be awarded 1 stamina potion every time you rank up. So right now I'm rank 761, and I get to bring 6 more characters up to level 70. So every time I bring one of them to level 70, I will get an additional stamina potion. And it pops up just like the refresh screen pops up, and you get that in your thing. That is
I'm going to point out for this change in particular, it means that players no longer have to strategize on
Correct.
stamina refreshes if they're trying to min-max their stamina usage, which some players on our Discord were known to do sometimes. They'd intentionally
Yes.
save level up
Oh,
refreshes.
yeah. We have a lot of, actually, I think we have quite a few people who are very good players and very skilled players who are very low rank because of that, to try to save, level ups. Some of them just may be lazy and not rank up their characters, but or not care. But some of them are intentionally that rank just to keep those stamina potions. But that is also applied retroactively. So I received 761 stamina potions in my mailbox this morning, which was a nice surprise. I mean, I knew it was going to happen, but so I have well over 1,000 stamina potions, and I didn't have as many as some of you already did. So that's cool. I enjoy that as well. Let me just go through a few of the other quality of life updates, and then Mino and Kreese jump in and say how you feel about them. Our Dissidia Point store and exchange is changing. The cap is now being increased to 3,000. Instead of getting 150 per day, we are getting 300 per day. And now there are high shards and high crystals in the shop, and you can collect 100 of each color each week. Now the high...
Incorrect. What it is that every week you can choose to collect 100 high crystals and high shards of a specific color. So you cannot get 100 of each color every week. You have to choose one color per week.
Oh, really? Okay, that is
Wait,
good to
what?
know.
That's
So-
how I thought it. That's how I thought it was described, right?
I'm
Uh,
able to able to purchase
Oh no,
multiple.
I've already bought two.
I'm mistaken then.
Yeah. So
yeah,
it is,
you can as long as you have the points, you can buy whatever you want.
They are expensive. That's the issue. So to get the 100 high crystals, which are the ones we really would want, they are 1,000 Dissidia points. Now,
So it's just really expensive then.
It's
There's
very
no limit on
expensive.
how many you
But
can
the
get
stock-
except
no,
for the 100 per week.
this-
Okay.
it is
I'm sorry,
100,
I completely misunderstand how
yeah.
that works.
You can purchase 100 of each per week. Stock, it says stock 1, but the quantity is 100. So you can get 100 of each color high crystal and 100 of each high shard every week. I don't know why you would want those. They are cheaper. They're 500. We also got tons of second anniversary stickers, so there's tons of stickers. Stickers are 300 points each. But the major update is now the level cap is 300 or 3,000, excuse me, from 2,000 to 3,000. Instead of getting 150 a day, we're getting 300 a day. And we have these additional high crystals and high shards. And really, at the end of the day, it's the high crystals that we are missing and have been kind of stifled on a little bit in terms of being able to awaken all of our characters. So that gives us a little bit more. We've already talked about the idea that the support items, which have all been 30-minute, except for the special winter ones, they are being replaced by 15-minute support items. So those are now available. You can go to the item shop on the draw page and get those 15-minute artifacts and tomes, and they are at a reduced price. So I believe they are on sale right now. The sale price for the tomes, I mean, that's really the only ones I buy, for 5 tomes of treasure, those are the ones that give you 3 times things for 15 minutes. It's 200, obviously, as opposed to 400 gems. So the price has been reduced, as you would expect, but now you have 15-minute instead of 30-minute support items. You did not lose any of your 30-minute support items, so they are all in your inventory, and they shouldn't be changing, but they have not been changed. Your 30-minute items are still 30-minute items, but now you can buy 15-minute items. We also have a couple new sort options. You can sort by double experience. Those who have the double experience rewards going on for their characters for events or what have you, and you can also sort by summon points to master. So characters who need so many points to master, you can sort by that. So quality of life changes. You guys want to throw in any kind of opinions about that?
I love. There's so many of the quality of life changes I thought were the most exciting parts of the stream. Oh, I know everyone was hyped for the GL first and stuff, but I'm saying like I was really happy with a lot of these. The DP1 is a big deal. Being able to purchase high crystals this early is a big deal. Months and months of time travel from JP. It means that in JP they still can't max every character's crystal level. They can come close, but they can't do it. We might be able to do it down the line, like max everybody. And I know there's a lot of people with a bunch of OCD playing this game who like to collect and hoard everything. Being able to 70 every single character is a big deal. Gives me something to do with my DP as well, because other than buying the Power Stone, I just throw it away. And, I don't know, like power orbs or whatever. So that was a fantastic, fantastic change. I guess we haven't gotten to the other quality of lives for the summon board stuff, so should I just wait until that?
You mean sort options, or you mean something else?
The base point increase.
We discussed that last week, didn't we?
Yep.
We did. I thought that was a stream thing. Then I'm crazy.
Nope,
okay.
That was
that was Game with Brothers.
Oh man, then I'm sorry. My apologies. The sword thing though was also really fantastic. I'm actually not sure if JP has that, but I know that when I was farming Brothers, I was wondering the exact same thing. Like, can I sort by synergy so I can do? Can I sort by ×2 EXP? Yep. That's a great way to find out who I can do right now. Or can I sort by how many summon? Like that, they read my mind. I really wanted those two sort options for a long time.
Well, one thing
I agree. I like the sort options a lot, and the 15-minute books. I mean, the price comes out the same.
Yeah.
It means that you might have a little bit more difficulty timing maximizing use of 15-minute books versus 30-minute books, but you also have to set aside less time to just run a single book.
Yeah,
the 15-minute stuff is a welcome change. It's welcome for me. I wasn't asking for it, but I know a lot of people were asking for it, and the fact that they implemented it is just proof that they really listen to the players. So even though this wasn't on the top of my list, I really appreciate that they put it in.
And it's nice because you can usually run 5 co-ops, normal co-ops, in 15 minutes or less. Usually you can, depending on the co-op, you can run it probably in 10 minutes and then have a few extra minutes to burn through your stamina in the World of Illusion. So then you're not spending another 15 minutes just auto-farming World of Illusion or just wasting the book. So I do at the end of the day. I like it. And then, yeah, it's easy to reapply the book. The issue is going to be remembering to reapply the books and not go in without a book. So we also got some unexpected quality of life, and that is a new type of event that we did have before, but we got an updated version called Mog's Gym. So we had Mog's Gym before, gave you a whole bunch of high crystals and high shards and all that kind of stuff with its own little shop. That has been replaced by Mog's Gym Novice and Mog's Gym Intermediate. So there's basically the easy and middle ground Mog's Gym. The Novice is just difficulties like 5, very simple stuff. And then the Intermediate's up to like 40. So again, really, really simple stuff. But it does give you some insight on how to play the game. It's great for new players. Talks about some various different mechanics. And gives you these tokens that you can use then, the Mog's Gym tokens, really for basically 275 of each high crystal. And then, you can use it on feathers. You can use it on any other kind of crystals. You can use it on higher power orbs, higher guard orbs. There's all kinds of stuff you can use it on. So again, I think it's very interesting that we have this, and Japan still has never gotten anything like this. So this is definitely a good time to invite new people to come in and get them introduced to the game using these Mog Gym's mechanics. So anything either of you want to say about Mog's Gym?
If you hate cutscenes like me and you're trying to speedrun it, I have a hot tip for you. When those little info windows pop up, like not the dialogue where they're talking, but like the square window where you have to hit like next, and then close, right?
Yeah.
You can push buttons through it. I did that a couple times accidentally.
Exactly! That's a good speedrun tip if you're like us and you just want to get through it as quickly as possible. You can...
Another note is that the Mog's Gym missions actually require specific characters brought to the party from Chapter 1 and maybe Chapter 2 story stuff. So look at the mission requirements before you start doing them.
And other than that,
yes, that is
still a great tool for new players. I really love how much they're still focusing on trying to bring in new players as the game ages. I know FFRK doesn't do anything like that, or other games as well. And yeah, I appreciate it.
And it is.
The update also does explicitly explain the new weakness change with how elements and resistances work now. And it gives you enough tokens that you can get a decent number of high crystals and high shards of each color, plus a huge amount of lower tier crystals of each color. So it's a nice windfall for newer players.
It is actually, at max you can get 275 of each higher crystal, which is enough to fully 71 character, right? So that's nice. Yeah.
Emerald Bard in chat is saying, who's already missing the free 30-minute books? It won't be so bad. I mean, the daily login reward will just be replaced by 2 15-minute books. So, I mean, technically...
Oh, right. Yep.
And I'm still sitting on, like, 35 of the 3x XP 30-minute books from when I last built them up, I think during Ultimate World of Illusion at the beginning of the month.
Me too. I have 37 of each of the experience and item tomes, and so many double XP tomes that I never use, books that I never use. We also, as we talked about earlier in the episode, we did receive an unexpected Sephiroth costume. Now, Japan does not have this costume, correct? Or did they? Sephiroth
not
doesn't
yet,
have his LD,
as far as I know.
So, assuming Sephiroth gets his LD, he'll probably get it. But anybody who was really looking forward to shirtless Sephiroth, that is what they call Sephiroth's extra costume. We all know it as shirtless Sephiroth. That's all they call it, is the extra costumes these days. So if that tickles anybody's fancy, that's available with gems. A whole bunch of other gem sales. Interesting, there's no new ingot sales going on, but I think the one ingot sale is till the end of today or tomorrow, so we'll see if there's more ingot sales upcoming. You guys gonna get the Sephiroth costume?
Already bought.
I'm not sure yet. I just got the Bard's costume, and I'm trying to cut back on how much I spent.
I didn't get either, so...
well, you know me. I buy every costume because they're not. They haven't announced bringing back. This is the anniversary sale. They didn't bring back the books bundle. If you're listening, Square Enix, I will buy your fucking book bundles for $45. Bring them back, but
me too.
Until then, I'm not buying a single ingot.
Also
I'll just continue buying costumes. No problem.
Also, Mog Pass anytime now. So we are.
Oh yeah, Mog Pass.
Quality of life has been introduced. Thank you for all of those nice updates. We are now in the midst of the second anniversary campaign. So that begins as we are recording tonight. We have 2 times or double World of Illusion artifact token drops. So that is very exciting. So if you don't grind artifacts via World of Illusion, now's a good time to start. So in the Radiant Artifact, remember it switched over from actually getting artifacts to getting these tokens, silver and gold. So now instead of getting 10 gold tokens and 30 silver tokens, you will get 60 silver and 20 gold. And if you use a 3 times book, that's 180. And what did I say? 20. So 60, right? Instead of 90 and 30. Much easier for artifact farming, comparative to basically artifact farming co-op event where you have 2 or 3 characters on that event synergy that you want their artifacts for. So I'm very excited about that because I like to artifact farm and I've got tons of stamina potions. Dexstar Lab, thank you for the subscription. Appreciate that. So yeah, I'm excited about that. We also get double cycle rewards and a double chance at the Cactuar spawn. So that's very exciting as well. I don't know if it says anything specifically on that in the things, if the chance of getting the K Cactuars are increased. Yeah, so but double rewards if you want to get up on your crystals, or if you need some more money, all that kind of stuff. Another fun thing that has happened throughout the game's history is the co-op first meeting bonus gems. Every time you co-op with a new person who you've never met, you get additional gems. That has been reset again. So assuming we've all gotten those before, some of us multiple times, now and I think that's around 4,000 maybe. Anybody know for certain how many gems that is?
Yeah, 4,000.
Yep, 4,000 gems.
Correct.
So as you co-op, I think it's 200 each. As you co-op with people, you're going to get those, and it's free gems. And we are getting 3 times daily mission rewards. So we were just talking about all those Dissidia Point options. Every day for the next several weeks, we are going to get 900 Dissidia Points a day, as opposed to 300. So, and of course, 3 times all the other rewards as well, which have been changed. The daily rewards have all been updated and shifted around a little bit. So make sure that you're paying attention to that. We are also getting a special 8-day login bonus, which I think also includes perhaps some pages and nuggets, books, that kind of stuff. So maybe some exciting stuff. And we are having special daily missions, and there is a special token exchange, and that's already up, correct? The
daily token stuff. I don't see it yet.
I thought somebody mentioned it right before stream. That's the token exchange for Mog's Gym. There's another token exchange. There's the Mog's Gym, and then there's a Mog's Gym with the 31 days. And is that the one that has stuff in it? No, I don't know what that one is.
No, that's the old Mog's Gym from the last version.
Gym. Yep, you are 100% correct. So that's not on here yet. Not that I see. If anybody else can tell us what's going on with that, let us know. But there should be a special tomorrow. So we should see that soon. So very exciting. That will include EX realization items. Very nice. We also do have an anniversary Chocobo panel, and we'll get a February Chocobo panel as well. So there will be 2 additional Chocobo panels. Again, more nuggets, more pages. For this one, you need to take advantage of using Eiko, Sephiroth, Orin, Maria, and Ramu. So very good. There's also a new version of Carbuncle's Treasures. That is a World of Illusion area. I did not see. I just jumped into it without looking at it. I did not see what it has been updated to, but you can get items for your summons in terms of Sylph and Chocobo, but also power orbs and guard orbs there as well. So I don't know. Do you know
it's
any
a much
other
better
changes?
deal than the past Chocobos. World of Illusion Chocobo is. It's only giving 4-star orbs for what I'm seeing, and maybe 5-star orbs at certain tiers. I don't know yet.
Okay, so we'll play through that and see if it's anything else. But I usually haven't done it, but it has reset, so there's gems and everything else in there. So get more there. Again, we talked about the gem sales. There are no book bundles yet or ingot bundles yet, but you do have some anniversary bundles. The 2 costumes currently, Sephiroth and Bart's, Kupo mini and mini cards as well, and we got a whole bunch of stickers to get in the shop. Anything from the 2nd anniversary so far that you guys want to talk about, or things you're looking forward to this month for the 2nd anniversary? All right.
Nope.
I will edit out that long silence.
The exciting things are really Aranea Global First and the free draws on every banner this month.
Yeah. So speaking of exciting things.
Yeah.
No,
go ahead, Mark.
No, I was just going to move along. So anything about 2nd anniversary you want to talk about, bring it up now, yeah?
Nah, go ahead.
All right. That brings us back to Ultimate Brothers. We did that was launching as we got together last week. Now we've had it here for a week. Where is everybody on your grind? I'll tell you where I am. I have cleared all of my treasures, and I have mastered 41 boards. And I think besides 2 of those, I now have around 39 characters who have all 5 boards mastered. But I am done for the time being mastering boards. So, yay. And getting treasures, all that's done. So
21 mastered, treasures all done, and I'm slowly working on old boards now. I don't know if that's a good idea, but I'm just trying to get all the times 2 people out of the way with the old boards.
Right.
And I actually enjoy summon grinding now. I used to hate it with a passion. I only did the treasures and never touched it again. But ever since wild points came in and we've been banking all these points, it feels really good to hoard wild points, just like we hoard gems and tickets. Like it's a sick pleasure I see seeing the reserve points going up. So twice a day I empty my SP on boards.
Nice.
And I'm kind of, this is a flip situation because last summon board I was the furthest ahead, and this time I'm the furthest behind. I've only finished master or collecting all treasures, and I only have 3 masteries so far. So I'm way behind on mastering all the characters I want to get done during this period. I'm probably going to do a lot of grinding tomorrow.
Yeah, I was talking with Kreese before the show, and I said I approached this one a little bit different. I was on stream last weekend doing some of this, my start of the grind. But the way I did it was normally I would take one strong character that I want to master and then a whole bunch of trash and a synergy character. Really, with Yuffie really does the synergy well, the special boosted characters well. I had Bartz, he was fine, but not super good in that role. Not as good as Yuffie at all. And I don't think anybody else in that group was very good at it either. So, I mean, it really was, if you had Yuffie, great. But if not, you're kind of huffing along. So instead of bringing one character I wanted to master and one trash character and one special synergy, I just brought 2 characters I wanted to master. And so I ended up mastering all the boards really quickly and then having enough wild points to get most of my treasures. And then just had to go about an hour or so to finish the rest of my treasures. So I felt it went pretty quick, actually, which is nice. But, yeah, so I'm not crapping on Bartz. I just, I think Yuffie was a better choice of special synergy. He was usable by far. So that does bring us to the Chaos event. And this one has been causing people a little bit of trouble. And again, I think very geared towards Yuffie. Why geared towards Yuffie? Well, she can push off their very annoying end-framed buff. That's the terminology we should have been using all along, apparently. End-framed debuffs and end-framed buffs. So the frame buff is super...
Can Yuffie push off end-framed buffs? I thought she could only do it un-framed.
Oh, I thought she pushed off the buff.
It doesn't push off. Snatch takes it. But
it takes it.
She copies it, I thought. I didn't know she dispels it, too.
Yeah, she takes it now, yeah. So Snatch takes... I thought we covered... Didn't we cover these characters last week?
Yeah.
Snatch...
We did. I must have not been paying too careful attention.
She can deal. Okay. She can deal with it.
Snatch takes framed, and then I don't need this pushes off a lot of buffs because I think it's 4 generic debuffs. Yeah. And then you run anyone else. You can I'll get to the strategy later, but let's have Mark finish describing the fight.
No, yeah. So the fight is very similar to the fight that we've been grinding. It starts with the 2 brothers. They have these powerful attacks that they do one after another. You really have to focus on one to get them to a point where they combine. And once they combine, it's just a non-stop kind of assault of the brotherly love attack. I think that's what it's called, the AoE attack. That's followed by a huge brave gain and followed by a huge, instant kill attack, basically because of their horrible brave. So, so it's a very, and they have tons of HP. So it's a very long fight. It's a very painful fight. you definitely need healing. You definitely need to get rid of their buff. So you need some kind of dispelling or stealing mechanic, because that buff they have that makes them very hard to hurt. It reduces brave damage and something like that. And potentially resurrection abilities, because they can just outright kill you. So you either need some way to deal with the brave gain, which is tremendous, some way to deal with the incoming attacks, which are relentless, some way to deal with the frame buff, and again, that Yuffie does all of that. Yuffie deals with the frame buff, the non-frame buffs. Yuffie deals with the brave gain by using her EX, which locks the brave gain ability. Yuffie batteries the party, which helps prevent the breaks. It was really tailored towards her. So if you don't have her, you are probably using a strategy which involves Y'shtola or Rosa for re-raises, or Warrior. I saw a lot of Warrior of Light on Macnol's Call to Arms, MACNOL on Reddit. Make sure you check out that and all those good videos. So Mino, go ahead and walk us through the strategy of the fight.
Sure. Like you said, definitely tailored towards Yuffie. She deals with all the mechanics herself. Because Brothers either gives himself the enframed buff, which she can snatch, the triple buff, which she can push off with her skill 2. I don't need this. Or once she gets ramped up, she can throw up her EX and they just can't buff at all. So 100% nullifies their crap. And I like this fight a lot. There are a lot of solutions. I know it was really frustrating, but if you had the pieces to the puzzle, and by that I mean either people who can cleanse the party or dispel, then you had a lot of options. Of course, you still need a dispeller, but I completed this with Balthier in Yuffie's place, and he could do it. Yuffie had a way easier time for sure, but Balthier is very viable for it, because when he gets debuffed, he can shrug it off and he can steal all their buffs instantly as well. So he's a very strong option for it. And I haven't seen the Call to Arms. Have you two?
Yeah.
Are there any Ferris clears?
Yep,
there have to be. Right?
Yep, there are Ferris clears. Did I bring Ferris for my clear? I may have brought Ferris for my clear. I don't know. Let me see. Let me check.
And I am so far behind. I have not done this.
Yep, I
yet.
brought. Is this the right one?
It's okay, Chris. No rush. It's permanent. Well, while you look for that, basically, while Yuffie is a godsend, it feels like every dispeller is viable here. It feels really good in that balance. Whereas, so you need a dispeller. A cleanser is nice because Brothers does constantly debuff you, but it's enough that you can ignore it. Yuffie does both. That's why she feels so strong. And basically, Brothers starts getting into a very, very predictable pattern after a while, which they'll spam 1 or 2 AoEs back to back, build up the Brave, and then try to one-shot someone, as Mark said. So there's actually a lot of ways to deal with this fight. The reason why people hate it is because you can't just bring the meta and nuke this fight down. You actually have to work around the mechanics, like a entropy fight. You can't just bring 3 DPS and kill it. So you need a dispeller for sure to deal with their crazy buffs. Otherwise, it's brave damage reduction on their inframed buff, and that's just such a pain to get through. I've seen people get through it with battery groups if they didn't want to bring a dispeller as well.
Fantasy 1414 in chat is saying his strat
sorry. I was gonna get to it.
Manipulate HP. So Y'shtola had the lowest maximum HP in the party, so she would always take the HP hit and then use her less stand and fully heal herself up with Pulse of Life right afterwards. So that's a very clever strategy.
Yeah, I was going to get to that. That's a very, very popular strategy right now. If you don't want to deal with the mechanics, because like I said, so you can dispel, you can bring batteries to get through it, or what it is people found that after the AoE attack, when they're fully charged, I forgot what it's called, Brotherly Love, right?
Brotherly
or whatever.
Love. Yep.
Brotherly Love is their big AoE, yeah.
Yeah, you can tell when it's coming because, just like all summons, the red bar underneath builds up. Right after that, they will always target the lowest HP and try to one-shot it. And what a lot of people have been doing, this strategy is very popular, is you bring Y'shtola, but and you take off all her HP passive, she takes the hit, she EXs, she's back up, and you just keep doing that throughout the fight, and you can pretty much ignore the mechanic. So that is a way to cheese the fight.
You have to be very careful of timing with that strategy, because Pulse of Life isn't always up. So you want to make sure that you are, because you can get really behind it. And as Macnell says, beware of Fred units HP messing up with the Y'shtola cheese. So yeah, you do need to be a little bit careful with that, but it is a great strategy to get around that issue. It's still not easy. Like, it's not a cakewalk. It's not like a win button. To clear, yes. I mean, you can get through it with a clear, but to get the full everything, because every time, because you can die and then she can deal with it if somebody else dies by accident. But yeah, so very good strategy.
Right.
Yeah, because Jesus Faction says I got a score of 0 with Y'shtola and lots of resurrection, but completed the other quests. So Tatsumi saying I used Ferris and Cloud. Macnell says there were 6 Ferris completes. Cloud is another good option because he can dispel as well. Not as reliably as Ferris or Balthier or Yuffie, but it is definitely something he is good at. Arrow, I need to watch this run. She did upload it. Used Bart, Kaith Sith, and Balthier, and I think that's an awesome.
I'd assume Vanille would work okay as a dispeller here too, especially with death.
Yeah, remember they
resist magic.
They
right?
are heavily resistant to magic. So
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't realize that. As I said, haven't done the chaos yet.
She is not doing damage, and I think a lot of her battery is based off of damage, right? Is it? I can't remember now.
Yeah,
off the top of my head,
it is attack and
so Y'shtola, they are immune to magic and they absorb earth. So, and they are immune to delay. So you cannot delay brothers. They absorb earth, and they are heavily resistant to magic. So you would think Y'shtola would be terrible, but it's Y'shtola, and she doesn't care what the enemies do. And you can actually use her stone ability to unbreak them and then re-break them with another character if you can time that. So that's what I did. I enjoy doing that quite a bit. So, but yeah, you don't get the knockback, and they do have this mechanic where they can lock you, and so yeah, it can be annoying, but it is manageable. There were a lot of different team comps, but it does take a little bit of skill, a little bit of patience, and probably a few times to get it right if you're having trouble with it. But check out Macnell's Call to Arms, and hopefully you can find a strategy that can work for you. And if you got one that's not been mentioned, then record it and share it, because hey, that's even more things for people to get under their Anything else?
Just worth mentioning, Tatsumi says there are clears using Vanille, so it is possible.
Yeah.
I just don't think she's an optimal pick, but it is possible if you want to try, Kreese.
No, I'll probably just bring Ferris.
Yeah, I think I
have Ferris built up. I was considering building up Vanille, but I think I'm going to sit on her for now.
I think Ferris is actually a really good. You do need to time it carefully, but I think she's a really good option. She does have the unique mechanic to lower the Brave just because of her EX special buff, so that's doing the kind of poison damage after her turn with the Whirlpool, so that's really cool. They are weak to water, so Ferris does hit their weakness, and she is synergy because everyone's synergy. So I think I mean on paper Ferris is a really good option. You just need to build around her in a way that's gonna to help her do that. So yeah, very good.
Oh yeah, if I bring Ferris, I'll probably be stacking an offensive support and a healing support, something along those lines.
Yeah. All right. Well, that moves from Ultimate Brothers to what just launched, which was the 7th Awakening Wave, which brings Sephiroth, Eiko, Jet, Maria, Auron, and Leil, their level 70 Awakenings. Sephiroth gets a level 70 and EX realization. Eiko actually got a rework and her new EX and its realization. Jet, Maria, Auron, Leil, they didn't get anything besides the level 70 awakening. And of course, as we said earlier, we all do get a free pull on each banner. But that being said, Kreese is going to take us through what these characters got, and we'll talk about it from there. All right.
I'm going to start with Sephiroth because all he got was his 70 Awakening and his Realization. So no changes to his base kit. Everything's still the way it was when he got his Lost Chapter several months ago. His additional ability is Attack Boost Up, giving him a small boost to attack and max spray for a few turns. You bloom it, he gets another use in longer duration, and you extend it with his Crystal Strike 70 passive, and it gets a little better. Big changes, however, are in his Realization. Just booking it gets him access to HP plus, which is a very strong HP plus, which is nice. You'll probably want to just raise him all the way because you get something very good at every level. So I'm not even going to bother going through what each individual level does. Overall, he gets an increased overflow limit on all of his abilities. He gets a massive attack boost, and he starts with 3 levels of Genova. And this is the Genova version from the Crystal String or the 35 CP weapon passive. So the Genova version, that gives him the max brave and attack effects. It's folded in with this initial application, and also 2 stacks of Reunion to start. Again, it makes him very strong. Sephiroth was a very strong character because he was a slightly before Cosmos, very late EX era character. And his kit shows that he has a lot of brave hits. He has overflow on everything. He has a very strong EX ability. He gets free turns. He has a very good brave plus that didn't really need any changes. This just gives him a little bit more to work with. He has the same limitations he did before. He's solely single target. He's a very selfish DPS. His only utility is a small speed down debuff aura with his Genova buff, so keep that in mind. He's there to do damage, and that's about it. The speed down aura is nice, but it's not going to be the reason you bring him.
Yeah.
Sephiroth's good. I mean, he's not game-changing. He's not going to be like a character you need or anything, but he's very good. And I think anyone who realizes him and 3-3s him is not going to be disappointed. Mino, do you have any thoughts?
Well, I mean, I always shit on the character, so I always feel like I should go last. You know, like lead with good news, right? Or
I think we should make it a sandwich. Good news, bad news, good news.
Okay, all right, okay, all right. Because I was thinking, I'm like the final boss of these evaluations. If you want to pull for Sephiroth or any character, and then I'm the last hurdle, I'll say all the nasty stuff. If you survive that and you still want to pull, then you made it. You're home free. Pull. Right? Like that. I think that. So, Mark, take the second slot before I shit all over this guy.
Yeah, sure. I think, again, if you want a single target melee DPS, if you like Sephiroth, it's going to work. I'll probably purple him just because I like Sephiroth. He's one of my top characters there, so I will probably bring him up and find some ways to use him. But, again, I think if you bought into the Tifa hype and you really liked her kit, how much different is, how much do you need another single target DPS? She does have the launch mechanic and the turn manipulation. He has the speed down mechanic. He does probably a little bit more damage overall, but again, they're both single target melee DPS, and at the end of the day, it's almost always, in my opinion, better to have AoE DPS than single target DPS. And I wish we had a lot more melee AoE damage characters, very truthfully, because most of the time we're fighting multiple bosses and multiple bosses that are the same, as opposed to, like we just had in this, just like we had in the last tier entropy, which we'll talk about a little bit. The last fight was 2 different things, and so being able to focus on one, that's when you want those single targets. But most of our fights again are 2 of this, 2 of that, 2 of the other thing, or even more. So there's a limited use in my mind for the single target characters, and if you already have a couple of them, I think you're probably not going to want to add or pull for Sephiroth. But again, he's doing crazy damage. It's Sephiroth, and now you can play with him without a shirt, so that's got to excite some people.
All right, so I'm doing, from now on, everyone needs to know, this is a public service. I trash all characters going forward. That's my job now. And If you still want to pull on the character after you've heard what I've said, then great. Like go for it. 100%. I pull shitty characters all the time. I'm sure Mark and Kreese also pull suboptimal characters that they don't think are that great. Tom Berry Troop does the
Lisa's
same.
high.
Tom Berry Troop, etc. Like we all pull favorites, we all pull bad characters, but the point is from
what were the five losing the five what should Ultima rate the five worst characters of Chaos Era? I think as hosts we have all of them, right? Lise, Fang, Zell, Sabin. Who was the fifth one?
Tidus was down there. Yeah, Tidus was.
Yeah, so
five.
so among the three of us, just the three of us, we have we have all five of those characters realized. Yeah, so yeah.
Oh my god, I did not realize that until you said it. But anyways, okay, so realize that when I'm crapping on characters moving forward, it's to fight overhype and to really test your conviction of the character. Like, I'm bringing up the negative points, but like any pro-con column, you're going to measure it against each other and see if you want it. So anyways, here we go. Let's just unload on Sephiroth. First is his most unique thing when he first came out was his slow aura debuff. Sadly, that is becoming more and more common. I know there are some characters coming in the next month or two that have that. I forgot. There's some villain that also carries it, but also you have the Leviathan summon now, as well, that does the same thing.
Didn't we just get somebody who also has that?
Yeah. Like there are slow auras abound now and coming up. So I'm saying one of his most unique traits is no longer unique. So I guess you can't really count. I mean, 10% slow is something, but not something to like bring a character for, right? To fill a slot just for. The second thing is I feel like his kit really fights himself. I think the skills do okay. They're all single target. They do what they're meant to do, which is lots of hits, decent damage. He still has a Genova stack buildup.
His EX is AoE, correct?
Yes, but his EX is a slow charge, and we measured it out with Tonberry Troop. We did some testing. It is 2 to 3 skills roughly.
It is
to activate.
Recharge.
Yeah, it's 2 to 3 skills roughly. He doesn't have that many skills to burn because he only has so many Octaslashes. I believe it's 5.
Yeah.
Right, and you want that spread. Like his kit is clunky because they gave him more longevity with a stronger HP plus and a stronger Brave plus.
Yeah.
It's really nice. You can just coast on the Brave plus and HP plus to make him last longer in fights. But if you do that, you will see his EX once every 5 or 6 turns, and then it becomes a non-factor. Whereas if you spam abilities because you want that EX up every 2 or 3 turns, then you're out of abilities before the fight ends. It's just such a contradiction. He's not the best at longevity, not the best at burst. He can't burst well. He can't be a marathon runner well. So like his kit feels like it's. Go ahead.
We're just Macnell says he does also have this unique ability to do 100% Brave Shave with his EX. So he does have that. That is a very unique ability for him, bringing the enemy's Brave down to 0, regardless of what their Brave is. That is unique to him.
I mean, it is, but I tie it. Oh, go ahead.
No, just going back to the kits. Yeah, just going back to the kits. We have this weird mix of DPS kits where, so here's a character that's just got a base number of skills. He does have a great EX or a great HP plus, a slow charging EX, and so very easy to run out of skills. And he's not doing anything besides the aura between turns. Whereas, you have a character like Ultimisha, and again, I know these are they're magic versus physical. But a character like Ultimisha, who is getting free ability uses, getting free turns. A character like Emperor, who is doing damage between turns. A character like Tifa, who's doing launches and doing delay and also able to recharge her abilities and use one of her skills for free, and also has some really quick charging EX abilities. So, I mean, I think that is one of his downsides is he is kind of set in the same play style as he was, and you're going to see that also with Renoa this month. She pretty much is the same as she was, just gets more powerful. So
Right.
they're not terrible characters at all. They're very usable characters, but you're not getting anything more special. And compared to the other DPSs that we're going to be getting, and unique characters like 8 this month, who have some of their own unique mechanics. Yeah, it's it's a little underwhelming, but again, Sephiroth's the main villain of 7, so he's going to get a LD, he's going to get a burst. We'll see him in another era shine as well potentially.
So I have a little more just to close it out. But yeah, I was gonna get to what Macnell was saying about the EX Plus. I wanted to bring it up. It is unique. It is a AoE gravity break, and that's great. But I was gonna tie it to the kit. I was talking about how hard it is to get that EX up. You're either spamming abilities, so you have it up every 2 or 3 turns. First of all, 2 or 3 turns is it's just long. Like that means the EX will not be up on demand. If you do it, you're going to burn out of skills before the fight's over, and it's he's just not going to last. If you spread it out, you're barely going to see that EX. That's why I'm saying, like, while I was talking about the EX recharge, while I do think the EX is great, the recharge is rough. And the other thing is he gets a new and framed buff on the EX Plus Reunion, which makes him extremely strong. Or was that old? Sorry.
It was with his EX.
He had Reunion with his EX, yes.
Right. Reunion makes or breaks a lot of his kit because it gives him a lot of regen. It adds a lot of power. But if you want to keep it up indefinitely, you need to spam the abilities. If you drop into Brave Plus or HP Plus at all, that thing is falling off. So the kit is clunky. I really, really feel the EX is great. I love the EX attack. It's just getting to it is a real problem. And then finally is that my personal scale that I've been rating these characters these past few shows is based on will they last the month, right? So like strong characters will be like top tier for more than a month. Viable is that month, weak is less. And I sadly debated I have to give Sephiroth weak because, as Mark so eloquently put, he's mainly a ramp up single target melee DPS. We have those with more utility. His damage is competitive right now. He is like right now on his release, his damage is competitive. But he like a lot of characters coming this month will crush him in DPS. 8 and King later are gonna crush him. Golbez is gonna crush him. Like there's a lot of characters coming this very month that will grind his DPS into the dirt.
Aranea is gonna be so broken.
Yeah, possibly. So I'm saying like like I know there's a lot of people who are gonna listen to this episode and come into the Discord and like argue with me, but I'm saying for these 5 days while he's alone, yes, his DPS is very competitive. Yes, he's gonna be a godsend in the raid where he has synergy and it's built for him, but not 5 days later we're gonna get Golbez EX Plus, and it's gonna make him look like a joke. And then you've got Aiden King coming, possibly Aranea. There's a lot of DPS coming that are gonna out DPS him, and his only job is pretty much to DPS. So I have to give Sephiroth a weak rating.
Yeah, he's he is what he is. So if you like his kit and you have him, and that's what I think a lot of these characters. The characters who we already have their EXs for, who we get realizations for, I don't necessarily think it's should you pull versus should you not. It's if you have them and you need them, are you willing to invest in them to keep using them? Because I don't think I think it's always better to pull on the newer characters versus pulling on older characters with some few exceptions. If you're going to spend, if you don't have any of these EXs, if you just started the game, we have a lot of new players now at second anniversary. Hey, if you love Sephiroth, pull on Sephiroth, you're going to use them. But if you have limited resources, limited books, limited ingots, limited pulls as a new player, who are you going to pull on? You got that Squall, Cloud, Lightning banner. Are you going to, pity one of those? Well, Is that going to be better than a GL first? Aranea, is that going to be better than Zach, who just dominates Chaos Era from this point
Oh
on?
yeah, Zach's gonna kill his DPS
Right,
too,
I mean,
and he's a
Zach just dominates. We still have Emperor up. Emperor dominates Chaos Era from this point on. Zach dominates Chaos Era from this point on. King and 8 banners, not a bad banner at all, right? So I mean, there are other options. So I think it comes down to the same thing we've always said. If you like the character, I think GR18, maybe a GRW18 said something about pairing him with Selfie. Yeah, if you like the character, you're going to find some ways to make him better. He pairs really well with regen teams. Of course, we got some really good regen iBrave characters because he does have good iBrave regen. So you're going to find ways to make him work. But, just because he's Sephiroth doesn't mean he's a game-breaking character this time around. He was pretty nice last time around with his EX in a very, very difficult Lost Chapter. Right, yeah, Lost Chapter. So this time around, a little less powerful, but still usable. Now that does bring us to a character who got a new weapon, and her name is Eiko from Final Fantasy IX. So she also got a rework. So Krisa, the little bit more complicated kit, do you want to walk us through Eiko?
Sure, I'll walk us through Eiko. Her kit, the basic ideas of it hasn't changed. It's just her numbers have been tuned up quite a bit. So I'm going to try to go through them piece by piece. First thing, HP regen now heals the party based on HP damage dealt. Otherwise, it's the same thing. That healing, if it exceeds max HP, can be converted to Brave. So she has a little bit of a extra battery on there on top of her initial battery. Smite is now multiple Brave hits instead of a single one. It has some Brave Overflow as a component for it. Otherwise, it's still a massive battery and a massive damage button. Brave Plus and HP Plus now only require Eiko to be buffed rather than for a couple of turns after she uses her abilities, which is nice. It's much easier for her to maintain them with those very long buff durations she gives the party. Brave Plus is now a 2 Brave hit wholly. It batteries the party based on her attack. Her HP Plus hasn't changed. Her additional ability is a ability recovery plus a party attack for a few turns. The bloom extends the party or the attack duration for a few turns, and her extension makes it stronger. So she gets one use of it. It gives her an additional use of HP regen and smite upon activation. So it extends her combat duration a little bit longer. Her new EX is called Terra Homing, and it is an AoE Brave attack with alternating Brave hits followed by an AoE HP hit that heals the party based on HP damage dealt, with excess healing converted to Brave. In addition, it inflicts AoE Holy Resist down on the enemies and gives Eiko double white. If you remember Vivi's EX weapon, double white is kind of similar to double black, except with Eiko's spin on it. So whereas double black gave Vivi access to double fire instead of his HP attack, double white gives Eiko access to double holy, which is a Brave plus HP executed twice with Brave Overflow. It has HP splash. It increases Eiko's Brave between the hits, but it dispels it afterwards. So it's a single use thing that she can do after using her EX ability. While it is active, she also gets some Brave regen. If you decide to realize her weapon, it gets stronger. Eiko gets access to an HP plus, which adds an HP or a Brave attack to her HP plus ability and makes it Holy Element. Otherwise, it's still the same thing. It does heal the party based on HP damage dealt. She gets a huge attack and max Brave boost to herself. She starts the whole party with her buffs, her HP regen, attack up, and max Brave up generics, and also a fully charged EX. And if you fully realize her, both Terra Homing and Double Holy get stronger. Note that Terra Homing is on a slow minus recharge rate, which is very slow. This is the only character I can think of off the top of my head is Garnet. There are a lot of others who share this, but this is a slow as molasses recharge rate, which is problematic because Eiko does not have a lot of ability uses. She only has 12 in her base kit. If you use her additional ability, she gets 2 more, so she's up to 14 total ability uses. Last thing to note is that she does have that unique quirk with her Crystal Strength 50 passive that makes it so that whenever she applies a buff, she also extends the buffs of all buffs. She extends the duration of all buffs on party members and herself by 1 turn. This can only be done once per buff, so you can't just keep stacking it, but it's a nice thing. It's similar to what Yuna does with her kit. And it has some niches for characters with short duration buffs that they want to extend as long as possible. So this really brings Eiko up to the current Chaos era. She's now firmly tied to her Holy Element in everything she does. Everything's Holy Element. She can inflict a Holy Resist down to help with that. She has a little bit more she has a few more sources of healing thanks to HP regen having a little bit of a burst heal on it, Terra Homing having a burst heal on it, Double Holy dealing a lot more damage in burst components, but she's still the same thing. I think based on what I'm observing, just looking at her on paper, I think the big thing that's going to hold her back is her slow minus EX charge rate and her limited ability uses. She still looks very strong though, but you do need to be careful about pairing her with other party members who already bring generic attack and max brave buffs, because those aren't going to overlap neatly, and that is a huge chunk of her party utility there. Yeah. Mark, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, again, I think she has a niche a little bit, but is she the best support that we've seen? No, but if you build around her, I think you're going to find a place for her. Some interesting mechanics. I'm not as excited about it to pull on her, but I think there are some very interesting pairings, especially coming up with some of the extend mechanics. Characters like Edge, there's a couple others that really do pair well with her. So if you're looking for a character like that does have that like 1 turn and frame buff that you can add to and manipulate that mechanic a little bit more, that's pretty useful. Again, a very specific team comp, but and the enchant, the ability to hit on those elements is going to be important going forward, and everybody's going to want at least some of that in some way represented, especially going into entropy tier 8. I think, isn't that the one that has the where you really have to imperil to really even have a chance at it? So to have some teams built around that, she can definitely throw in there and add to those characters as well. Mino, you gonna take a dump on?
Yeah, I really do think the recharge rate on her EX is a big problem.
It's an issue. Yeah.
Other characters that have this recharge rate on their EX are Vivi, and I'm trying to remember who else is like this. Slow minus is not common. We see a lot more slows and normals.
I think someone said Sync.
I'm trying to remember.
Right? Sync has slow minus.
I think Sync is slow minus minus.
Oh, slow is minus. Okay, so slow, super duper slow. All right. Yeah, Mino.
Okay, yeah, let's
Renoa is the other big slow minus. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
It's Renoa, Garnet, and Vivi are the big ones I can think of.
Thank you.
All right, let's get all the negatives out of the way. I have some positives for this character. Let's do all the negatives first. She is an iBrave based healer back from the old day because she's one of the first batteries ever released. So sadly, her skill 1 is tied to iBrave. And iBrave batteries are pretty obsolete now. Everyone's been graduating to Max Brave batteries or attack batteries, which are much higher stats that are easier to scale, a lot more buffs for that. iBrave has been reserved for regens. So now as an iBrave, like I believe, Kreese, it's 100% iBrave battery for skill 1, right? HP regen?
It's 200% int brave. And I'll also note that her only int brave battery for the party is tied to HP regen. Everything else is based on attack.
No, I think Smite's based on damage, correct?
It's based on damage and attack. There's two numbers in there.
Right. And she does fine in those other areas, but messing around, because I did have a chance to mess with her and talk to other Eiko fans while we were doing the show, and it seems like the battery on skill 1 is very underwhelming. I mean, would you correct that? Because it seems like, based on max brave values today, it's not filling very much.
Oh no, it doesn't fill to max brave. I think, and as again, I haven't had a chance to experiment with her because she awoke and got her EX and everything during the show. But at level in the 60 era, she was usually giving like 8,000 brave to everyone, which wasn't bad
Right.
at the time. So I don't know how that scales up with her new stats.
It's always, her skill 1's always been dependent on hitting weakness, elemental weakness. So
you're talking about skill 2.
Oh, that's skill 2. Smite is skill 2. So
Yes.
yeah, the
Skill
HP
1's
regen
HP
is
regen.
really
Cedra Games is saying, in Synergy right now, a geared out Eiko is throwing 18k, which is not capping anybody because we're all sitting around like 40k max brave, right? And that's in Synergy. So out of Synergy, if you do the quick math, it's really bad math, but since Synergy multiplies stats by 1.5, then that's about a 12k battery off a skill, which hurts because skill 1 is 5 uses, right? 5 charges, Kreese?
With her additional ability, it's a total of 5 uses. It's not something she should be leaning on heavily.
Right. So skill 1, honestly, to me, feels like a very weak skill. You do it to throw the buffs on, which is fine. That's nice. And you do it to extend buffs, which is nice. But basically those two. The
Burst heal.
Oh yeah, a bit of the heal. I feel like the HP plus could heal more with well, I'll get into the specifics later.
No.
Okay. But the battery wise, a little weak. So I feel like skill 1's just a little weak because of the low charges and low battery, but the other utility is fine where it is. So I'll leave that with skill 1. Skill 2 has the same problem it always does. Attack battery is really nice. The extra damage opponent, because Vanille also has the same type of battery, correct? It scales off attack and then off damage done. As we've seen,
yes,
although the attack scaling does help them in this era, it's still going to rely heavily on the damage done as well. And with Eiko, that's always been a hit or miss since the Crystal level 60 era, because she has to hit weakness, which she can now imperil, which is nice. But also, it's just like, if the defense is too high, say like Kryl, same problem. If you're hitting an enemy that you just cannot pierce, the battery is not as reliable. But it is still a much better battery than skill 1, I would say. So that's skills and batteries out of the way. Healing wise, I feel very iffy on Eiko's healing. Burst wise, there's much better, but I think over time, the 8% over 12 turns is still very, very nice to have. If you're taking steady HP damage constantly, it's still the best at what it does. I think Eiko's still the best at healing over time, which was always her niche. It's just that I think healing over time is just, it's harder to want to bring than burst heals in this chaos era where we're getting chunked, right? Like Ishtola's instant heals and her last stand, or who's our other big healer other than Ishtola? Who have I been using?
Rose.
Yeah, Rem is big. Rem is big. But you guys get the gist of that. The sad thing about her X recharge is that EX recharges are relative to the character's speed. So even though Furion has like a slow, or I don't know if he has a slow minus in GL terminology, but I know his EX is very slow. But because he is a slow character, it only takes him 2 or 3 turns. Because
which character?
Furion?
Again? Furion is slow.
So, but he still charges decently well because he's a slow character charging a slow EX. Eiko is a pretty damn fast character. She has low fast action speed or low action delay on her abilities. She has a decent speed and a speed buff on her smite, so she takes more than 2 to 3 charges to charge her EX. And her ability count is also low, so charging her EX is also a big issue, I believe. If anyone wants to test that out, I believe that's 3 to 4 to sometimes maybe even 5 skills, which is rough. And she's a character.
I'd probably say 4 to 5 without experimenting directly,
right.
because she, again, high turn rate on Smite. She has a speed up buff that she gives herself on Smite. I think her base speed is not actually that great, but I'd have to double check.
But her with her low ability counts, like it's the same with Sephiroth. Getting the EX up reliably is a challenge for sure. People are saying in chat, Cedra Game says HP plus, EX, and S1 all heal directly. They all don't heal great amounts, but it is a constant heal. That is, I think Eiko's become a living heal over time. Instead of just relying on the HP regen buff, every little thing she does heals just a little bit to the whole party. And I am kind of a fan of that. But I think that battery-wise, she's middling, passable, not at a high tier. Healing wise, she's middling unless you're talking about lots of damage over time, like this current fight. CPU does a lot of little AoE Brave plus HP hits, so this is perfect for her. And I think there's other fights out there that are great too. So I think she's very average at what she does. Even her buffs thrown up, they're generic buffs and they're 3 buffs, which is not great, not terrible. It's not enough like Aphmau where you're pushing other people's buffs off, but you do have to kind of consider who you pair her with. You know, you want someone that buffs themselves 2 to 3 buffs or something like that. And
does not give themselves generic buffs that she will overwrite.
Right, exactly.
Or they will overwrite of hers.
Right. Much less of a plug and play than, say, Ishtola or Rosa, but you can make her work. She does have situations that work. She's just not a character that excels. I struggle between placing her between viable and weak because I think healers are the most necessary role in the game, I believe. You need more healers than you need anything else. Like tanks are great, but you don't need tanks every fight. You know, debuffers, dispellers, cleansers are all great, but you don't need them every fight. You need a healer almost every fight and almost every tier of entropy. So I say you can never have enough healers, just that she's very average at what she does. There are lots of healers and batteries and aura bots and buff bots out there that do what she does, but better. You can make her work. That being said, her small niche that she shares with buff extension is very good on a lot of characters. People are saying like characters with very strong buffs that don't last long, like 8 and Vayne coming up. A lot of people are saying she can really get a lot of mileage out of them. She works perfect for those characters because they don't throw a lot of buffs on themselves. And again, like 8, who has the dodge mechanic, doesn't need burst healing. Healing over time will work. So she's a very niche healer battery, slightly below average on all fronts, but I think she's workable if you really want to use it.
So GRW18 is saying, so Eiko's the jack of all trades master. And I think, as I replied to him in chat, I think a better thing to call her is, besides a jack of all trades, would be she's more like a second string healer. That's a sports terminology. Healer battery support unit. So she's not Rosa Y'shtola, but she's sitting on the bench in case you can't use Rosa or Y'shtola, right?
I mean, Mark, you bring up a great point. You bring up a great point, Mark. We were talking about this in our Discord before the show. I think we called her entropy fodder, but we were saying like that's not something more casual players worry about. Like not everyone's doing entropy, not everyone's pulling for entropy fodder. Like that's a term that most players don't need to know, but basically she's a great like roster filler if you need a fallback, but she's never going to be a main part, like a leading person. Like she's going to be great for when you need like 7 healers. She's going to be one of the healers you go to, but she's not going to be a healer that you're bringing to all the most recent chaoses.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Ian says I wouldn't even bring her in entropy. That's funny. But a little bit more experience there too. But yeah, I think, I think you make a good point about what kind of player are you when we're talking about these characters, or when you're watching other people's character reviews. What kind of player are you? And we have a huge variety. Again, like I said last week, a lot of people on our Discord, a lot of people with us tonight are very good players. They have their gold plates. They're going to get there. other players. Hiromura's on there, very different type of player. Hiromura.
Shout
has
out to Hiromura. Really sorry. Like a lot of our friends raved about your stream, Hiromura. I checked it out when I could. I know you saw me. You messaged me when I followed you. We love how positive your attitude is. You represent of a player type that isn't represented very well in the community, which is one that only plays for fun, pulls the characters they like. They're not stressing if they can't complete content. They're just enjoying the game for favorites, and more people need to be comfortable with that, I think. Like, I love how positive your approach to the game is.
Yeah, so I would say, I mean, if Eiko's a favorite of yours, I mean, she is an endearing character. I love Final Fantasy IX. She's not really on my Final Fantasy IX top list because she's kind of annoying. But
I actually like her character.
No, I like her character too. But she is endearing as a character and cute as a character. But yeah, not one of my favorites from that game. But if you like her, you're going to find a place for her. But yeah, if you're not worried about entropy and needing 14 healers, yeah, you could probably pass on her altogether. She's not going to be in your A team. If you want to bring her in, you're going to find a place for her. But yeah, if you're not worried about that kind of huge bench, that huge roster, or if you already have 7 healers, yeah, you're probably not even going to consider pulling on this banner. Again, unless you really like Eiko or you really like Sephiroth and you end up with her, then yeah, invest in her and make her work. But I think it's good to...
One last thing I want to say about Eiko, that's another kind of dash against her, is that her Holy Resist down debuff is only 4 turns, but it's tied to her slow minus EX ability. So there's a good chance she will not be able to maintain it 100% of the time. So if you pair her with someone else who also imperils Holy, such as maybe Sabin or Paladin Cecil, that might help her.
Exactly.
That's a great point. And finally, just piggybacking off what Mark said, I think I'd have to settle on a weak rating because, as Mark said, there's different types of players, but these reviews are basically if you're on the fence, if you're chasing meta, if you're pulling just to clear content, then Eiko is not a pull to clear content. I mean, if you're fine and you need to pad your roster, go for it, but she will not end the month the best at what she does. So,
or start the month the best at what she
does. So I mean, sorry. So both of these characters this week get a weak rating from me.
So speaking of other characters that suck, there are 4 other characters on this Awakening wave who get level 70s. They get no reworks. They get no additional EX. They all have EX weapons. They don't get any EX realizations. But they do get AAs and level 70s. Kreese, are any of these poor fools worth investing anything in?
For the moment, probably not, unless they are favorites. I'll just quickly go through what their additional abilities are. And just as a note, all of their Crystal Strength 68, with the exception of Maria, are selfish buffs for themselves. Maria does get a small max brave and int brave boost to the party. Everyone else is just selfish buffs, so I'm not going to cover those. So quickly, Jecht gets Jecht / Recovery, which recovers 1 use of Jecht / If you extend it, it adds a max brave overflow limit, and if you Bloomstone him, he gets 2 more uses of it. So he basically gets 3 more uses of Jecht / Maria gets HP heal attack. That was the name of it. Which restores party's HP a small amount and also slightly raises party attack for a few turns. If you Bloomstone that, she gets a couple more uses, 2 more uses. And if you get the extension, it increases the HP healing. Orin gets weak damage up Crush, which is a 2-hit Brave plus HP attack, and also allows him to do slightly more Brave weakness damage for a few turns. He gets 2 more uses of it if you Bloomstone him, and it improves the weak damage up effect if you get the extension. Lael gets Brave Heal All, which is a party Brave gain based on Lael's max Brave. If you bloom it, he gets a 2nd use of it, and also improves the Brave Heal a little bit. And if you extend it, it slightly further raises the Brave Heal done. Again, none of these are going to make the characters all of a sudden amazing, I would say if you're looking to use them for something, Lael and Jekt are probably going to be the stronger options out of this because their kits are slightly more recent. Lael got an EX weapon in the Cosmos era, and Jekt was one of the late EX and rework characters in the EX era. So both of them probably will work for Cosmos content without too much fuss. I don't know if you'll be bringing them through any Chaos content in a serious manner. At least not without some heavy carries to help them along.
No doubt. With some very heavy carries, right? But that does bring us to the podcast polls. I remember you can always go to our Discord. That you can go to tccpodcast.com and get the information on our Discord, join our Discord. And we do have under the podcast tab a podcast poll channel. And Quetz from the creator of MateriaBot, who's also one of our moderators, puts all these polls together. And so thank you, Quetz. And so everyone gets a free poll, so very good. But among the people who are going beyond the free poll, give you a sense of our community, one person willing to pity the Sephiroth Eiko banner. So there was somebody chasing that. One person willing to gem, 36 throwing tickets at it, and 16 skipping. So that was with the 2 realizations. The other banner, no one willing to pity, no one willing to gem. 8 people willing to throw some tickets to maybe pick up Orin and Maria, or missing the jet weapons. 43 skipperoos on that. Of the people who have Sephiroth's EX or were planning to pull it, there was 10 just planning to keep it EX. 9 planning just to realize it, 1 just using 1 ingot, and 15 using full purple, fully realized. So a pretty split in terms of whether to keep it, just realize it, or go 3-3. Eiko, again, not a lot of people pulling for her weapon, but the people who are very split. 3 planning to just keep it EX, 4 planning to just realize it, use a book, 8 planning to use 1 ingot, no one using 2, and 7 planning to fully realize it. So you can see a good spectrum of people. Well, I think I can, use her where I want her, just with her EX, or just realized, or just with 1, or no, I want to go all in and use her fully. So good luck if you're pulling. Again, we don't tell you
I'll just chime in and quickly say that I have not actually decided what I'm going to be doing with Sephiroth or Eiko EX. I did ticket pull Eiko EX, and I had Sephiroth from way back in the day, but I'm low enough on realization resources that I don't know what I'm going to do with them, so I actually have not voted in those.
Yeah, nor did I this time, because again, I wasn't, or maybe I did vote on Sephiroth, but I wasn't sure what I was going to do, and I don't have Eiko. All right, well, we do have a raid event, and it is this time the CPU boss fight from Final Fantasy IV, where you fight the big ball and the 2 smaller balls that look like weird, what people in the 90s thought computers would look like in the future, I guess. Kind of Tron-esque kind of computers. So it's kind of an annoying fight. Lots of HP damage over time. But very similar mechanics to the fight we fought before and the Final Fantasy IV fight as well. Reminder about raid events. We have this ongoing combined raid damage, and then you also have personal damage. So the damage you have done by fighting the CPU over time unlocks rewards, and then everybody working together kills the boss so many times, and we unlock rewards. So keep doing the co-op. And then there will be a chaos event as well. So some people have already attempted the chaos, it sounds like. Heard some things like Emperor was really good on that. Surprise, surprise. People are talking about some different strategies they're already bringing in. Heard some people say it wasn't terrible, using Bosch, using Celeste to try to just negate the damage, things like that, with the heavy magic damage. Either of you wanted to throw in some thoughts about the CPU battle? We'll cover it in great detail next week, I'm sure.
No, I don't think either of us have gotten a chance to even try it yet.
No. I just meant in general. Yeah.
I just know that, as people have said in chat, and as I've seen from the easier battles as I was trying to unlock the raid, was lots of little HP attacks constantly, made for Eiko, basically.
Right. Yeah, so if you're doing the co-op, probably not a bad idea to have that. One of those characters be Eiko. So if you did get in there and do some co-ops, if you got Eiko, so yeah, and so we'll cover that, and just we'll have that for the weeks it's up there. So keep going. I know this was a little bit more of a frustrating raid event for Japan, so we'll see. At least that's kind of what I have in the top of my head. That this one was kind of annoying, but maybe not as annoying as the tree battle that we just had. So we'll talk about it next week, how we feel about it going forward. So some host discussions. We do have a part of our podcast, which is podcast questions, and there were lots of questions from last week. We understand, and we did cover a whole bunch of them. But so moving back to some of the older questions, Ravager 721 asks, what is your favorite video games of all time? Well, I joked about this, I think, a while ago in FFRK, but seeing as I have played Final Fantasy, or Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia every day for 2 years now, I think it probably ranks pretty high with my favorite video games of all time. But other than that, of course, I love Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts. Really, one of my favorite video games of all time, just to throw one out there, is Eternal Darkness, and that was on the GameCube. It was a Lovecraftian, Cthulhu-esque, just kind of out there trippy game. My friend Corey and I, we got that in college and probably played it back-to-back playthroughs, probably 3-4 times. It was so fun. Yeah, you guys want to throw in there anything?
Chris?
I was going to let you answer first, but I can go. Based on the number of times I've played through it, I'd probably say one of my favorite games of all time is Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. I think I played through that game to completion 5 or 6 times throughout my life. It's one of my favorite Zelda games. Final Fantasy related, I don't know if I have a favorite Final Fantasy, probably 9. And other games that I don't really know if I have huge favorites. I've been on a bit of a Soulsborne kick lately. I know late last summer I started chatting in off topic about it a bit, but Bloodborne's definitely my favorite out of the Soulsborne games.
Yeah.
Let's see. I like Persona 4. I like God of War. FFs. I like FF6 most. Then 10. Then 6. Then 10.
You're such a hipster, like in 6 and 10.
That's you speak sarcastic. Those are the ones everyone loves, right?
Okay,
good. Okay. Because I am pretty hipster. I'm the guy hating on every character here.
You are. But that is cool to do that. Yeah, definitely. I think everyone knows Final Fantasy VIII is my favorite, and that is the one I've played through most. I've played through that the most number of times. Also, a lot of Diablo 2 and 3. I played through Diablo 2 and 3 dozens of times each, so that would be one. And you guys are MMO players. Kreese and Mino have played...
I've been playing World of Warcraft since it officially released. So I've had an active account nonstop for 14 years. Does that make it? I don't even want to think about it. 15, 16 years now?
Yeah. Well, technically...
Can't prove I play MMOs.
Technically, I've been playing Super Mario Brothers since 1987, I think. So maybe that's my favorite game, because I still play it. Like, we get it out and play it, like, as a family. Like, I make my children play Super Mario Brothers. I'm like, you can't play real video games until you master Super Mario Brothers. Then I'll let you play Fortnite. But you got to beat, Bowser in World 8 and 9 before you can get to... It's tough parenting. It's tough parenting. You gotta no warps. You gotta play through that whole darn game in one sitting, no breaks. All right, thank you, Ravager. LaFaro asks, which level 70 non-EX pluses have you enjoyed the most or are looking forward to the most? Lena would be an example. She does not have a realization. Any thoughts? I don't know if that's
my answer was actually gonna be Lena.
Yeah, yeah, we've talked about how useful over the course of the time Lena has been. Renault is my favorite character, and I got a lot of use out of her in the level 70 era. I don't know if he's talking just post realization era. So, but yeah, Lena's still throwing her weight around and still useful. It's hard to negate that. Kreese, did you have anyone there?
Not really. I've barely used non-EX plus characters since the
Right.
Chaos era started. Like they're not even a blip on my radar 99% of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how to interpret the question. If it's non-EX plus, I enjoyed using. Lena's the only one I can think of that's really been carrying her weight in Chaos. I guess Realm as well, not for me personally, but Ink really, stretched her out as long as he could.
I guess I'll mention Ramza and Noel as big non-EX plus level 70 characters that are working in certain situations.
In certain
and
situations.
then Lena and Realm both come back real strong with their EX plus, so big fan.
There was another Black Cloud asked, can we teach Marks how to pronounce things? Yeah, I've watched your streams, buddy. Be careful what you throw. I like Black Cloud a lot, and check out his channel, Black Nero.
Wait, where's that question? I don't see it. Is that on the outline?
No. I'm thinking because I'm trying to find the outline. I'm trying to find the question that Kreese is referencing in here, and I can't find it. Soul Knight has a question. That's what I was looking for. When Beatrix finally released in Japan with her EX Plus, she ended up being fairly average. But she was pretty decent. But in GL, she was meta for 3 months. Yeah, that's fair enough. Very, very usable for 6 months. But yeah, really meta for 3 months, which is huge. In the game, certainly, to be able to dominate for 3 months. Do you think because her kit was designed for GL, she suffered when she was released in Japan, or do you think Aranea will suffer the same fate? Well, Soul Knight, thank you for your question. I actually think she was designed for JP, and then tried to be dumbed down for global. I mean, don't you think? I know, Mino, you've talked a little bit about that. Isn't that your understanding of it, or do you think she was designed here and then upgraded?
Yeah, I don't remember. She didn't get a rework when she came in JP, right? Compared to the GL version.
Oh, yeah, she got a decent rework. Yep. Mm-hmm.
More hits, stronger hits on Thunder Slash.
But that only came with the EX Plus, right?
Better battery. No, this is base kit stuff that she got.
She got base.
They were better than the version we had.
Oh, I was not sure, but honestly, I was under the same impression as Mark. I remember Josh has talked about how they select the GL first in the past. He said that, as many people suspected, they take a look at all the JP characters that are, very far along, have all their voice acting and animations done, etc. And then he helps select a character based off of, what would be popular in a global setting, and then they just pull it over and remove whatever, so like they pulled Beatrix over and removed the EX Plus and maybe tweaked a little here and there. Same with like Aranea is gonna come without an LD, and take that into account. But from my understanding, they do develop it JP first. GL team is the one that pulls it over and adjusts it. And I also believe that they said that they really do consider balance, like when it releases. So Beatrix was a very timely release, because back in JP meta, it was Kate Sith, Lael, and help me out here. What was the super launch meta? It was Kate Sith, Lael, and Selfie. There you go. And basically, Kate Sith was so good at what he did, so unique at what he did. Beatrix was a Kate Sith substitute, because a very similar mechanic where the moves got stronger with the more buffs on the party. Exact same thing as Kate Sith, only character to imitate that. It filled the niche of having a magical attacker, a thunder attacker when Hellmonth came, and that was all geared towards magic and thunder weakness. batteries, damage resistance. Like, they really considered how can we bring a character in to fit the current meta landscape. So I have high hopes for Aranea. And but sorry, to answer the question, they 100% develop
What
for JP
question?
first. I don't think they're
Yeah,
like
I agree.
they're like,
Yeah.
oh, let's single this guy out for GL first, and let's make him weak when they come back in JP. Yeah, no, I don't think. I think it's just that Beatrix was a very popular character globally, and they're like, oh, she's coming, and in JP she was destined to be good, not like super amazing meta top tier stuff. But they pulled but she just fit right in that GL time slot they put her in.
Yeah.
I'm also going to comment that she came at a time where our options for characters that provided a lot of buffs and
Yeah.
also attack auras was very, very limited.
Right.
And she provided a pretty nice attack aura if you farmed her artifacts. So not only was she strong, she made other characters strong too. So she opened up options just by being present in the game.
So
Right, it's
fingers
like
crossed.
out of all the time travelers, the first major time traveler was Saz, and
Yeah.
Saz opened up teams because his aura and buffs were so powerful. You could run a lot of things you normally couldn't. Same with Beatrix, a lot of auras, a lot of buffs. Although she was still at the end of the day pretty great DPS, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm predicting from Aranea. Again, shields are confirmed, and based off other games, there's magic cancellation, sort of like a silence mechanic. Like, it could be a big deal. I don't think she's going to be a straight up DPS. I think she's going to have utility that's going to help her last a lot.
Yeah, and the reason
Eons is also mentioning in chat that Beatrix came with a lot of Brave Overflow in her kit, which at the time she released was very rare. Some characters were getting Overflow on their EX abilities, and Kate Sith was the only other character with Overflow on a base ability. So Beatrix could just do a lot of damage on a single button push,
and it
pretty
was
frequently too.
Yeah, paired with characters who were now battering us for really the first time significantly, which were Kate Sith and Selphie and Leo. So yeah, it was a perfect storm. I mean, Zaz was kind of like the salt of Defo. He made everybody better. Beatrix just was a powerhouse. And so I'm hoping that that's what we get
So
again.
Beatrix was a sriracha.
Yeah, she was. She was the.
Wow!
She was the
What a
sriracha.
controversial comment.
I like
but,
that.
But
Yeah, that's good.
but Mark, to interject, as was mentioned in chat, you said Saz made everyone better. That's not true. He made Kane much worse, as GRW18 has said,
Yes, thank you.
and as I have defended time and
That's
time
true.
again. I said Kane was a
Kane,
good character on his release. In JP timeline, that is true. He was the first person to buff himself with 60% attack and max brave. That was unheard of at the time. But in GL, Saz came before him and literally did that to any unit, and he didn't gain the benefits of it. So like,
I
go ahead.
recall your evaluation of Kane on Reddit, and I especially appreciated how you compared Kane's journey in Defo with Kane's journey in Final Fantasy IV being overshadowed by another character.
Yeah, it's just, look, Kane had his time to shine. I will stand by it. In JP, he was a very strong character on release. In GL, he got cheated out of that by a character whose only gimmick was literally to give other characters what he got. So he fuck Saz. Hey, Kane was good at some point. I will defend that. Jack and Sabin, not so much. Sabin never, but Kane at least had some time to shine.
Yeah, so a couple other little questions here just to clean up our TCC podcast questions, and thank you all for submitting questions. Feel free to do so once we're done here, and we'll share them at a future episode. Minion asked a question that we were actually talking about on Discord, and I want to save that for another week because I think with some more time that would be a fun discussion. What alcohol would you compare each Final Fantasy game to, or which alcohol would be which alcohol would pair best, as you like, you go to a nice restaurant, what wine pairs well with this dish, what alcohol would pair well with each Final Fantasy game. We won't go through all 15, but if we all picked one, I think that would be a fun discussion. So I want to save that one. Anthony asks, other than shirts, any chance we can purchase other TCC items? Again, last week I said we are interested in maybe, kind of partnering with an online shop to do some stuff that's available internationally for all of you. So if anybody has any experience with any of those online retailers that do, shirts and mugs and travel totes, that kind of stuff, let us know. Let me know. Send me a message, and I'll look into it a little bit more. But if anybody has some good experience with one, that would be great. Neo says, since we are getting a lot of free multis in February, including Aranea's, and almost everyone here knows mixing gems and tickets is not recommended, would you still use tickets in and before after committing a free multi? So would you still use tickets in?
I'll jump in
after?
and comment on this.
Yeah.
A free multi-pull does not count as mixing tickets and gems here.
Oh.
It is quite literally a free multi-pull.
Yep.
You don't spend any resources. So you consider that a plus. You do that, then you decide, okay, I didn't get anything. Do I want to spend tickets on this batter, or do I want to spend gems on this batter? Literally do not include the free multi-pull in your decision, except to say, if I decide to go the pity route, it's 70k gems to the 75.
It saves you 5,000 gems. Yep, I agree. Yep, if you're going to go tickets, but...
I want to go on the record to disagree with Crease.
Oh.
Free multi-pull should count as gems, so never mix gems and tickets. That means do all your ticket pulls first, and then 100%. When you either run out of tickets or get what you want, then do the free multi-pull, and then see.
And I want to go on record as saying that Mino's an idiot, so do not listen.
That is bad advice.
We're 2 hours in. I've been drinking for 2 hours.
So K9 Word says, not sure if it's been addressed or in which episode, but what's the likelihood of spheres acting as materia orbs like in Final Fantasy VII and being able to swap to other weapons and such, or being able to unequip your sphere and not have it destroyed? Funny you should ask. That is now a reality in JP. There is a material that allows you to safely unequip your spheres. So hopefully we will get that material. And you can actually buy spheres or make spheres in Japan. They're a little bit less powerful than the spheres that fully realizing a weapon would give, but you are able to actually generate some more generic spheres to fill out your characters and have spheres on other characters in Japan right now. So we will talk about that when we get that, and maybe that will be an earlier quality of life update for us. The last question this week is from Stray Bead. We won't be able to get most of the crystals in the DP shop, right? We talked about that earlier. So how are you planning to budget your Dissidia Point expenditures with this new shop? Well, I think personally right now, because we're going to get 900 a day, I'm going to try to get as many high crystals as possible, especially white and yellow, which I am very limited in. Although if I'm going to purple and upgrade Renoa and Sephiroth this month, and depending on what color Aranea is,
Aranea is blue.
Oh, she is blue. We did find out she was blue. So I'm just going to prioritize what I'm missing crystal wise and get those crystals. I am not going to go ahead and get all the stickers until I have an abundance of Dissidia points and nothing to spend that on. I will always prioritize the high crystals for the time being. What are you guys thinking moving forward with your shop here?
I think I'll never buy stickers again. And I'm only going to buy the Power Stone and then crystals and then whatever. I mean, of course, common sense is what Mark said. You buy the crystal color that you're lacking. For me, that's also whites and something else. I guess there's a lot of white characters that both Mark and I are missing. I'm not missing yellows, though, but whites and something. But obviously, just shore up what you're missing clearly, right? Or prepare for whatever character's coming the month. Aranea screws things up, so there's 2 blue crystals coming this month.
Yeah.
So blues are in heavy demand this month. Stuff like that to consider. But other than that, I cannot see myself wanting to buy stickers anymore when I can buy actual in-game power now. I don't know how it's going to work out.
And I know some people love the NT stickers, but I never use the NT stickers very personally. I have
I
all
do.
the other ones. Yeah, I never use.
I spam Kane all the time. Leave it to me.
Leave it to me. Yeah.
I'll be doing basically the same thing. I'll be looking at demands for high crystals and then prioritizing that color to replenish my stocks. And it's just going to be high crystals, not high shards. I have thousands of each color of high shards, and I will never run out of them.
Yeah, and to know that they're permanent and they're added to the cycle quest in 8 months makes me less inclined to ever pick up high shards, because I know I can make that 8 months without running out.
I'll also mention that we are getting triple daily rewards, I think, starting tomorrow, which means 900 Dissidia points a day.
Yep.
So for a while, we're going to be able to get a lot of stuff from the Dissidia Point shop.
And that's going to last for quite some time during the second. So I mean, almost all month. So yeah, we're gonna be able to pick up those stickers and get those crystals without much of an issue, I think, here for a while. But then it's going to be a little bit harder. But remember, like in raids and stuff, you get tons of Dissidia points. And that kind of stuff. So I'm almost always wasting them.
Mark, before we move on, chat's talking about their favorite NT stickers. I agree. There's a lot of good ones. Like Titus's "This Is My Story." I see that spammed a lot. Josh is saying that he'll make good use of Emperor's "You Are Unworthy." That's a great one to spam.
There are some. No, there are several of the new ones that I think are really cool. I was just saying, in general, I have not been using the ones that we've already had.
Yeah.
Nothing against that they're bad or anything. I just
wait. What do you use to harass other players in co-op? Because I use Warrior of Light, who's saying "Let's go." When people are lagging,
I use
let's go.
Shocked animated Mog from the Halloween event.
Yeah, I use the animated. I use the animated ones, the Mog, and the. I always just do nice things. So my current setup is, I'm going to edit it recently. My current setup is, of course, Renoa's "Hey," Renoa's "Woo," I'm speechless.
That's a good one. That's
Squall's good going. Tifa's amazing. Vanille's thanks. Santa Cactar, jolly game, and happy 2020.
A lot of people are mentioning the Beatrix wake up emote is a popular one to spam.
Wake up! That is
especially when people are not taking their turns and waiting and waiting and waiting.
But yeah, there are of the huge number of ones we just got. There are some pretty cool ones, including Emperor's "You Are Not Worthy." I also not going to be worried about buying potions from the Dissidia exchange.
Yeah, same. I can cross that off the list.
Not going to be buying potions for a while. So looking ahead as we wrap up tonight's show, thank you all for joining us. This episode 87. We do have a calendar. It is in-game, so you can check out all of the upcoming events. Golbez on the 3rd, his lost chapter, Clad in Darkness. 8's event on the 6th. He's from Type 0. He's number 8. So we'll have even more of that. The Power of Tranquility, and he comes back with King's Rework and EX and EX Realization. Then Act 2, Chapter 7, Respite's Authority. And that brings us, who the hell's in Act 2, Chapter 7? Ignis. And Zach. So he's the new character there. On the 16th, Aranea, Commodore of the Sky. I think they really missed an opportunity with Red, because her main kind of accentuating color is red. The spear has the red accent, and her ship is red. But okay, whatever. Renoa, like the crystal colors don't have anything to do with that. Renoa LC on the 20th, Where to Go. Gao event on the 23rd, which name to be determined. Or maybe that's just is the name of the Gao event, just question mark.
I do not know what the Gao event name is, so I just left this question mark.
And then
that fits, right? That's his name when he appears in
maybe
FFXV.
That's actually the name. It may be just question mark.
Oh, before we end, sorry, since Josh is in here, I wanted to point out, because a lot of people have been talking about this. People asked Josh the day before the stream to give a hint on the GL first, and he put a picture of a Chobani Greek yogurt and said Chobani with a hint of blueberry, and people were going wild with fucking speculation, including our own Dreamy saying Chobani is 7 letters, because Josh is like, here is a hint, and it's going to be a bit of a stretch. And Dreamy's like, well, Chobani's 7 letters like Final Fantasy 7. It sounds like Nanaki, who's also from Final Fantasy
Yeah,
7.
that was.
Yeah. Blue is the opposite of red. Josh said it'd be a stretch, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people after the stream, they're like, so what did Chobani have to do with the GL first? What does it have to do with Aranea? And to answer the question, if you guys still haven't figured Josh out, the answer is he doesn't give any answers. Last year, when people asked for a leak, he posted a picture of a literal leek, the vegetable. Yeah. So this year, he posted, when they asked for a hint, he posted a picture of Chobani because it says a hint of blueberry. And that's what he was getting at, a literal picture of a hint. So people need to stop speculating on it. You guys got played. Don't expect any
fair,
confirmation in the future.
Her crystal color is blue, and she is a dragoon and an airship pilot and Commodore, and blue is the color of the sky. So so there you go. It all works out. It all comes back together.
He did say in main core that was an accident actually, and that he put blueberry because that was his favorite flavor.
It's the best. It is that is also my 5-year-old's favorite flavor of yogurt. So great minds think alike, apparently, and he's a big fan of Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. A little too much of a Final Fantasy 7 fanboy for my taste, but we got time to work on that.
Wait, why? Is it because you played 7 with them?
No. Both my children love Final Fantasy 7, and so my 5-year-old, he loves Cloud, he loves Sephiroth, he loves the red guy. He never remembers his name, Vincent, but yeah, he likes Tifa too.
My question is, where was the exposure? How do they know about 7?
They've seen Advent Children.
Yeah.
So, so they're huge. They're huge Final Fantasy. He was really excited when Tifa got her EX realization, my 5-year-old. So he really wanted Tifa on his account. So that was really important for him. But I don't know. Squex Joshua's here. Thank you for all the work you do, and thank you for the stream on Monday. That was a lot of fun. I want to make sure that as I said earlier in the show, I am super excited that it was Aranea, as it was the only one of the top 25 characters in Final Fantasy, that my top 25 in Final Fantasy, that is not represented in the game, and so this was the best case scenario for me. So
same with me, Josh.
Thank everybody that you can for this wonderful, wonderful gift. We're getting.
Yeah, same, Josh. I know you're going to listen to the VOD again, but I said that this was also the second best choice for me because Kane with breasts is still Kane, kind of. I know Nomura really wants to bone Kane for some reason, consecutive games with female Dragoon Highwinds. He even said Fang was basically his version of Kane, and then he makes Kingdom Hearts, and he said Riku was based on Kane. I know Nomura is obsessed with Kane, and I know consecutive games he keeps making female Kanes. So I guess this works too for me. So I guess thank you.
How do you explain Final Fantasy 14 between 13 and 15?
Nomura didn't work on that one.
Oh, so consecutive Nomura. Gotcha.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm excited. All you people who really wanted Red 13, sorry. You can wait for Red 13 to come later. Still hoping for the Regalia, though. So let's throw out the Regalia. But we also did get the announcement in game that on the 27th, there will be another event, a Heretic event. And most likely we believe that will be with the Awakening Wave number 8. So we'll get that at the end of the event. And that will be Heretics going along with that. And that's par for the course. One Awakening Wave comes with a raid. The next one comes with Heretics. And one comes with a wave. Heretics, wave, Heretics. Raid, Heretics, raid, Heretics. There you go. But looking forward to a lot of other content coming up. And a good month, busy month. Lots of events. Lots to talk about. We have lots of events dropping as we podcast every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central. So join us for that as you're playing, as you're getting into the event. Come talk with us, hang out with us, just lurk with us. That's great too. We just love having everybody on with us live. Feel free to check out the video on demand on YouTube, and of course all the podcasts. This is a podcast. Hashtag it's a podcast. So we do put it out to all the podcast services. And if you are on Apple, make sure you do check it out. Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts and rate the podcast and give it a review. That would really help us because we are rated among all the video game podcasts. We are a rated podcast. So that's kind of cool, and other people to get. And hey, it's second anniversary. This is a great time to bring other people into the game. So if you have any friends, anybody you know online, even other people who play other games, this is a great time to bring people back. I think Munchkin Gaming has been doing some stuff to bring some people into the game as well. So that's cool to see other people who aren't necessarily Defo streamers bring some of their audience back into the game. And so if you're joining us as a new listener, it's welcome. It's good to have you with us. This is episode 87. So we've been doing this a while, and we just enjoy getting together and chatting about this game called Defo. And we're looking forward to this next year. So happy anniversary, everyone. Enjoy the raid. Enjoy the polls. Enjoy the awakening and all the wonderful quality of life changes that we've gotten today. Best of luck, and we'll see you all next week. Goodbye.